Autism affects my life in several ways. I have to sort of know on a repetitious level, like how to do things accordingly. Changes are very difficult in a routine. It's hard to interact with people. Even I'd like to get to know people better. I try to listen very hard and try to become interested and gradually be friends. Sometimes it does work, but sometimes I know the subject matters are sort of limited with normal individuals. I've had cases where I felt turned down, but silently. I sometimes feel disappointed and hurt, then I retreat and go back into my own indifferent world.
So my husband and I have been having a really rough time. And I won't just say that this has been recently. It's been for the past 14 years. Or ever since my son was diagnosed with autism. For those of you who don't have a kid that has a developmental issue, there's really no way to explain to you the financial strain and emotional strain that it takes upon a family. Because of his behavioral issues, my son needed to be homeschooled, which in turn forced me to quit my job and my husband to work overtime. That in turn put stress on our relationship because he worked all the time, and when he got home he was stressed, and I was at home with Alan, our son, all the time, which is even more stressful. This led to us having to sell our house and downsize. And the events that I'm about to share with you transpired when Alan was 13 years old. Moving into that new property, I felt like something was wrong with it from day one. I just never vocalized it. But as time passed, I started to notice little things, whispers that I could hear when I was taking a shower, freaky electric surges throughout the house where the lights would flick off and on, but nothing that I would say was full-on poltergeist or demonic activity. That was until 3 days after Alan's 13th birthday. Again, I don't know if you who are listening have an autistic child or have had experience with an autistic child, but they start to develop certain patterns and habits, and those patterns and habits need to stay the same in order for things to go well. In Alan's case, every night before he went to bed at night, the closet door needed to be closed, his bedroom door needed to have a crack in it, and his nightlight had to be on. If those 3 criteria were met, he would go to sleep, no problem. If for any circumstances one of those 3 wasn't in order, my son would have a conniption fit. This particular night, all 3 things are in order. He goes to bed. About 1:30 in the morning, I hear him screaming and hollering, losing his freaking mind. I come in the room, he's sitting on the edge of the bed and he's rocking, his hands over his ears. He says, "The shadow man with red eyes." As he rocks back and forth, "The shadow man with red eyes, the shadow man with red eyes, the shadow man with red eyes." He says it over and over and over again. I'm trying to comfort him and calm him down. In walks my husband, who's already tired from working and he's pissed off. And I swear to you, I think he holds this whole thing about my son being autistic against me, but that's a whole nother story for another day. In walks my husband, he looks around, he says the closet door is open, that's why he's behaving this way. He closes the closet door and tells my son to go to bed. He and I both knew it was going to take a lot more than that to get this boy to calm down, but he leaves it all to me. So he leaves out of the room and heads back to the bedroom and hops in the bed. Now I'm sitting there with Alan trying to get him to calm down, and eventually, after about an hour, he falls back to sleep. The next morning I asked him, "Son, what were you talking about?" He goes on to tell me that the shadow man with red eyes came out of his closet. He told him to close the closet door, and then he started whispering to him. At that moment in time, I didn't know what to make of this, but I did know prior to that night, shadow man with red eyes was not a part of his vocabulary. It was not something that he said on a regular basis. But moving forward, every other day, all I heard about was this shadow man with red eyes. It got so bad that he moved his dresser in front of his closet door. And the more I questioned him about this shadow man with red eyes, the more upset he got. So I figured the best thing I could do was spend the night in the room with him. I'm in his bedroom, it's 1:30 in the morning, I'm on my cell phone scrolling, when the freaking closet door opens. Yes, the closet door opens on its own. This dark shadow kind of mist emerges from that closet and takes the shape of a man, but not a short man. This thing was tall as the closet door, and then its eyes start glowing red, and I can hear this whispering. It's whispering his name, Alan, 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 over and over and over again. When I stand up and make my presence known, this thing morphs and slides back into the closet door. Even though it's 1:30 in the morning.
This story is for members only and available at iamdarkwaters.com. If you are a member, please head over and take a listen. If you have not become a member yet, don't worry, more is coming your way. Dark Waters is determined to get you on board. To the members, content is dropping every 72 hours, so take some time to catch up. Now some of you will say, why do I need to be a member? Great question. But let me say this, a membership to Dark Waters website is cheaper than a cup of Starbucks iced coffee. Can you sacrifice 1 cup of coffee per month so that you can have access to the greatest horror narration in the world? Sure you can, so go ahead and do it. Think about it, all you do is piss that cup of coffee out within 2 hours anyway.